Ladies and gentlemen, it's Too Late with Alan Mosley.
I'm so glad the audience came back
Yeah, that's
for
great.
round two. How did you like episode 195? It was a pretty good one, I thought.
Yeah, we didn't screw it up too bad, I don't think.
Yeah, yeah,
Done
sure.
worse.
Yeah. Guys, welcome back for another episode of It's Too Late. I'm your host, Alan Mosley, joined as always by the number one producer in late night. It's Dave Wolomowski. Dave, how are you doing?
I'm still living the dream. And I'll just say what I
Yeah?
said last time, and that Mary brought it up earlier, that I never ask you how you're doing, and I guess that's kind of rude. So, Alan, how are you doing?
I'm all right, I guess. You know what I did earlier today? I rode my exercise bike because I know myself well enough to know that if I said, well, you know, I get busy on Wednesdays, but I'll just do the show, and then after
Yeah.
the show I'll ride my bike. And then you know what happens? I do the show and then I don't.
Yep.
So what I did today is I rode the bike before the show, and then our stream turned out to crash. So
Okay.
I'll never do that again, will I?
Yep, that's obviously correlation there.
Yeah, no sir. But yeah, we are back live here at It's Too Late. I see in the chat people are wondering what the that was. Gibbs says, "How was Chinese prison?"
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, not the best, I gotta say.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy to be here. Like, you know why this happened, don't you? It was
Why's that?
because you and I flew too close to the sun. We were too excited for tonight's show, and so
We were
fate
very optimistic.
just
Yeah.
just
A little reality show.
yeah. I mean, I guess I should pull my notes back up. Like, dude, I closed everything. We were done for the night. All right. You know what we're not going to forget to do tonight, Dave?
What's that, Alan?
We're going to tell people about the 4th annual It's Too Late live show, which is coming up on June 4th this year, hosted by myself and my friends Dave and Mary, Liberty Late Night at the private
Yeah.
Bon Aqua Computer Club in Bon Aqua, Tennessee. It's just south of Nashville. That's June 4th, but you got to get your tickets because space
Yes.
is limited.
Filling up fast.
Yeah, it is filling up fast because space is so limited that when I hear a few more people say they're coming, I'm like, I got to start crunching the numbers. But I do have a really exciting announcement. Proceeds from the night of June 4th are going to go to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Yeah. The official Twitch mod of It's Too Late, since we're over on Twitch
Yeah.
right now. Hey, show everybody our Twitch site.
Oh, that's right here.
Yeah, it's twitch.tv/Alan_Mosley. But the official Twitch mod says only about half the viewers are back since that snafu. So
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Needed that.
yeah, did we? Did we though? Yeah. So anyway, and I'm just like my notifications and stuff over here are just blowing up because it's everything saying y'all still doing a show?
You still doing that show?
Yo, stream it! All right.
That's a valid question.
I mean, yeah, I didn't realize it was going to be. I've actually got some of my friends texting me on my phone, just links and stuff saying, hey, did you see this? I'm busy! We've done the show at Wednesday nights at this time for going on 5 years. And my friends who tell me, oh, yeah, Alan, I caught your show the other night. That was great. But then they text me at this time because I know they don't watch. I know you don't. I know you don't. I mean, I used to know Dave doesn't, but now Dave's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
Yeah. You know, I went to a dinner party last weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, I
fun.
haven't actually. I can't even tell you the last time I went out to a dinner party because, you know, I'm straight. So
Yeah.
I don't go around telling people that very often, but no, dinner parties, not being straight. Like, but I went to a dinner party last weekend, And everybody there were really cool people. I mean, like really solid, like F the police,
Oh,
taxation
yes.
is theft kind of people. And we had like this really awesome brisket and salad, and we talked long into the night about all the topics you would expect. Primarily age of consent and abortion.
Yeah, those are the best.
Yeah, mostly age of
For
consent. Yeah. And the thing is what always happens is age of consent comes up, and you always have one half of the table that says, "But why should we be listening to arbitrary laws set by the state?"
yeah, same
And the other
arguments.
half of the table says is, "But that no, that's radioactive, my friends. It's just
Yeah.
it's just wrong." And I'm always, I kind of view myself as the arbiter that's in the middle, because I'm just hearing it out. I'm just listening to these I see you distancing yourself. I see you distancing yourself from the show. So I'm just me being me. I'm just the arbiter that's in the middle. And I always say the question that people never ask is yeah, but what does she look like?
We need that problematic thing.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
I mean, just for self-awareness during the show.
Actually, what's funny is that the topic actually did come up at dinner, and so me, an intellectual, I
That's
decided
great.
this is a
Yeah.
great time to test out a new bit on my audience.
Oh my
And so I go, you guys might recall that I used to run a printing business,
Yeah.
and there was this one time when I was out at the office, this Hispanic family came in, and they were coming to get invitation to their daughter's birthday party. And their daughter came to pick them up. And I mean, dude, just a body made for adult entertainment. Like, this girl was just smoking. Like,
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta Jones remade. All right. And so, anyway, like, I'll never forget that. But does anybody know what a quinceañera is? I
No idea.
didn't translate that word, so I don't know.
Oh no.
Yep.
Is that the joke? Shit. I wasn't sure.
I swear to God, you're all right.
Oh,
Anyway,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, I see.
yeah. So anyway, um, big story that was going around in the news the last couple of days. I don't think we're gonna get another stimulus from the GOV based on all the COVID stuff that's gone on. I think the stimuluses are
Yeah.
behind us. But just when you thought it couldn't get any better, I want you to check out this article right here. A crack pipe stimulus. The Biden administration to fund programs that hand out crack pipes to prevent infection and
Oh.
promote racial equality. $30
Oh
million
my
grant
gosh.
program to distribute funds to nonprofits and local governments to make drug use safer and, in quote, advance racial equity. By the way, in Black History Month, by the way.
Oh
Just-
my gosh.
In Black History Month, by the way.
I saw the memes. I didn't
Yeah.
I meant to look into it.
Yeah. But you know what the great thing is that if you're really like that shocked that they're going to be handing out crack pipes to people, wait till you hear where crack came from.
Oh my. I have an idea of how that story started.
Yeah. Why can't people do meth like real adults,
That is so racist.
I mean, I didn't do it. They're the ones.
I know. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were talking to me, like Alan. That's
No,
so racist.
no.
No, I'm not. I'm not the one doing it. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. This is
I'm genuinely shocked.
Yeah. So anyway, what are you gonna do with your safety kit? Because
Oh.
that's what they're calling them. They're calling them safe smoking kits and supplies.
I can get one too.
I mean, you'll just have to check with your state. They're sending them out,
Okay.
so
Oh, that's interesting. That'll make it for an interesting homeschooling day.
Yeah. It actually says a spokesperson for HHS said included in these kits could be pipes for users to smoke substances like crack cocaine and crystal methamphetamine. They'll serve to limit the risk of infection because typically users smoke out of glass pipes, which can lead to cuts and sores that become infected.
Mm.
If you're gonna,
Wow.
because that's isn't that government in a nutshell, that they're saying that this is for your health,
Yeah.
but that's because in their twisted worldview, you know, like ivermectin's bad for you, but since you're gonna have a bump every now and again, just do it safely.
Don't want you to get a cold sore or anything.
Yeah, or you know, AIDS, I guess.
Yeah.
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 I don't know, man.
A crack pipe for every family.
Yeah. What
Awesome.
a clown world.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, I know. It's like sometimes Wednesday rolls around and I'm like, we got to brainstorm some funny things to talk about on the show. But then I'm looking at the news and it's like, well, that's actually really happening. Like that's not a bit. They're doing it.
And it's hilarious.
Do you remember back when they were voting on the last omnibus spending bill, how they were saying that there's just no room for cuts? We have to do like 1.6 trillion, and that's bare bones. There's not a single cent we can cut out of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
But they found like 30 million.
They found
for crack pipes.
We can scrape together a little bit for the necessities.
Yeah, Tim Weissong says a crack pipe in every pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about a pot pipe?
Yeah.
Never mind. Thought there was something there.
I saw somebody had an interesting question though before we take the break. Is that so? You know, in some places you can be arrested for drug paraphernalia, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, is this not like the ultimate honeypot where they're literally going to be out there like, hey, do you need a kit? And then the moment you pick it up, they just blow you away.
Slap the cuffs on. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know.
Yeah, clown world. Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, it just must be awful to be black, I think.
Well, that's what they seem to be insinuating.
Yeah.
It's not us, it's them.
Yeah, it's not us. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like sometimes
we're just reporting the news.
Yeah, this is okay, yeah. Yeah, fix your tie, Dave. That's what's holding us back tonight.
And I noticed that it doesn't matter what my tie knot looks like. I just realized this today.
Yeah?
Because you can't see it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's behind your front mane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just have it all wrapped up in a whatever.
Yeah. Do you think we would get in trouble if like I wore like Muslim garb on the program?
And I don't know yeah.
And then spread misinformation. Because that's terrorist now. That's what they're saying now. DHS says that if you're spreading misinformation, that's basically terrorism.
But you couldn't be a terrorist.
But you know that old quote, but if this be treason, make the most of it. So if you're going to go out there and spread misinformation, then you might as well talk about how the earth is flat and the birds aren't real and
subterranean lizard people.
You know, I've been trying to get banned on Twitter. You saw that, right?
I noticed that. Yeah,
I was trying to get, and I'm still there.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I called everybody, as our mods put it, rebarded fabbits, and dib fibbers, and yeah, and I said that when the mandates are done, we shouldn't celebrate. We should coat the wall with the blood of our enemies. Yeah. And Twitch was like, what can you do?
Yeah.
But they did make me remove a tweet talking about Regis Philbin. I want you to always remember that. Regis Philbin is no, but...
Where the hell are the lines?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Is that, I mean, if it were up to me, there wouldn't be lines, of course. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, just for knowledge's sake,
Mhm.
what can we say and not say?
Evidently, you can say a lot of things.
Yeah, you can say quite a bit. Yeah. Boy, that the show would have been so good the first time.
Yeah, we were. Yeah,
Like
it was a
we
nice
were,
start. You know,
yeah,
we got off the starting line like perfect.
yeah, we were gonna go hard in the paint for that show. This
Mhm.
one,
Yeah,
this one's,
my heart's just not in it anymore.
yeah. Get your get your mute buttons ready, because this show now is gonna fucking suck. I feel like we have to have a button. Like when you know I'm gonna say something, you have to have a
Yeah.
button that like,
A beep. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think I have.
yeah.
No.
We should discuss these things before we start.
Yeah, instead of the stupid stuff we do discuss.
Yeah. What did we? I don't even remember.
I don't know. We were rolling about something.
Yeah, because we were really excited for the show, and then it went to
Yeah.
shit. Yeah. This is probably the worst monologue I think we've ever done.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, the Olympics are on, and like sometimes you'll have multiple heats in
Mhm.
in an event. So our first heat was a 0 out of 10. So like
Yeah.
we're gonna have to do a lot of work in the second heat to bring this thing back. You know. Well, I guess we better be getting on then.
Yeah, we should probably move on.
I feel like I'm not look, I just want you to know I'm not blaming you. All right? I'm just
Oh,
saying
good.
that was a really good time for you to drop something. Like if you had something, that
Yeah.
was it.
Well, that was your first
Mhm.
mistake. I had nothing.
I'm just thrilled that we're online. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's still setting in.
Yeah, our first attempt was a DQ, our second attempt was a 0. So we're gonna move on to attempt number 3. Guys, we're gonna be back with the meme of the week and the viewer mail right after this commercial break. Don't go away. Yeah. Guys, welcome back to the show. We have a sponsor now. I want you to take a look at this. It is Tennessee Hot Sauce Company. Comes in a variety of flavors. You can get them on their website, which is tnhotsauceco.com. Right here, I'm holding Poblano Jalapeno. And if you look right here, they actually have a meter that we use. That green is personable. But if you look over here on the Blood Orange Ghost, it's problematic.
Yes.
What was the deal? If we raise something like $100 in donations before the end of the show,
Shots. Yeah.
yeah, we'll do shots. But that's tnhotsauceco.com. I actually talked to the owner earlier today. He actually got some orders from our audience, and
Wow,
I was
it's
just
working.
as shocked as he was.
Yeah.
I can't even get these people to log on to Twitch and follow the channel. But they'll buy, you know what it was, is that they saw us and they were like, man, if that hot sauce is so good you can drink it straight from the tap, it must be some good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
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 I do like hot sauce.
I mean, it says 0 calories, so I should just be able to drink this for sustenance and lose weight.
Yeah, I remember that from when I was dieting. Hot sauce is free. I think mustard too. Yeah. You can have as much as you want.
Yeah, but it's not free at tnhotsauceco.com. I don't
No.
don't give people.
Even with
Yeah.
our promo code.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you should keep working on that. Why don't like even the point of the sponsorship? I don't even understand.
They know.
All right, anyway, hey Dave,
Yes, Alan.
what time is it?
It's time for meme of the week.
Americans that can't find groceries on the shelves. But in comes Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
That's nice.
There you go.
I like that. Look, that's helpful.
That is.
Yeah. But we do have a bonus meme. Check out the bonus meme. It's afraid. Honk it again. Look at his face.
Honk it again. We got another cookie too.
Yeah, I'm gonna open my. No,
Oh, this is gonna be good.
This is our futures, Dave. This is our. Yeah,
we're sharing this.
Yeah, we're sharing.
I don't know, something about sharing fates with you just
Yeah.
makes me nervous. Yeah, we kind of did that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm younger. Statistically, your fate's going to be decided before mine. That's all I'm saying. Didn't we already get this? In retrospect, it was inevitable. Didn't we have that like last week?
Yeah, that's a repeat.
They only have like 3 fortunes in the cookies.
I guess they really wanted to drive it home.
I don't know. I mean, the last time that happened, it was perfect because we had a little bit of a snafu, and ironically, we also had one tonight.
It was inevitable. Oh, because of our optimism. The lesson will continue until the lesson is learned.
Yeah.
There you go, right in the water.
Yeah. The water. I already told you I'm too nervous to use the cup as a cup because then that means now there's an open container around all my shit.
Yeah. I got one too. Did you see ours?
Wait, where's the handle?
Yeah, we lost that pretty.
No, that's how it's
quick.
made. Oh. That's how they make it.
Kind of represents the show.
I feel like that should be like 10% off or something.
It should be.
All right. Taking another quick look in. I see Castro, FEMA camps. One can hope. Open container rules. Jesus, you know what? I'm never gonna look in. I am happy that all the chats from Twitch though, because people have figured out that Twitch is where it's at. But
you're really building a community there.
Yeah, Twitch is so good for the stream quality. But this is what you got to do. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you go to my channel, twitch.tv/Alan_Mosley. You follow the channel, then you click on the subscribe button, and you'll notice that you get a free subscription with Twitch Prime. You connect your Twitch account to your Amazon, and then you get to subscribe to my channel for free, but we get the full proceeds of the subscription. Like we're at a point where we have to make it free to you to get people to support the show. You know what? I'm going to go on a rant really quick since we're on that. I was talking to some people earlier this afternoon, and did you know that these dick shitters like Reason and Cato have like multi-million-dollar budgets? Like Reason operates on like $4 or $5 million a year, and Cato's is more like $8.5 to $9 million annual budget. That's the kind of money you get by being in the Beltway and just sucking like Clinton's dick every other week. And then you get $8-9 million annual budget, right? Like these are the people who every other article is let's distance ourselves from Ron Paul and talk about how vaccine mandates are truly libertarian. And they're raising that kind of money. But then you've got organizations like the 10th Amendment Center that like they're running on way less than 10. They're running on less than like 5. They're running on like literally a few percent of that, right? Or Mises, for instance. Yeah, Mises is running on like a fraction of what those organizations are running on, and they're not total trash. And so
Yep.
what I try to tell people is that it's not that's bad enough. But what makes it worse is when you think about the seen and the unseen. The scene is look at all the great work that the 10th Amendment Center does on a budget of like $150,000. Now imagine what they could do if they had
Yeah.
like Cato's budget. Like we couldn't imagine. Who even knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it couldn't exist because it wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be what it was if it had that budget. It couldn't have that budget if it is what it is. You know what I mean?
I feel like so the monologue was the place for your material.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do you want to go back? I mean, we could probably go back. Okay.
I don't have a button for that.
Okay, we better not touch it. I don't want to. You're supposed to under promise, over deliver. My bad.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Mary says, "Why is it still censored for me? Some words are. Am I on the kids' version of Twitch?" Actually, our channel is marked as being like 18 plus. So if you're watching on Twitch, you're in the big peepos.
Yeah,
Twitch, yeah,
Big boy table.
yeah, at the big boy table. So the moral of the story here is, I mean, you look at us, like our budget's like $600, like a year. And look what we do. We do the best fucking show in this community.
Yeah.
The best one.
It's up there.
The best one. The best one. Can anybody else hit the buttons? Like, if you feel confident that you can hit buttons and agree with everything I say, send your resume to info@alanmosley.tv. Yeah. And funny enough, not hit buttons when one's not requested. That's another good one. You know what's funny is we haven't done a single viewer mail question.
No, we
and,
haven't. I just looked at the time there.
And the segment's over. Yep. We haven't done a one,
we
but
should do them all then.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and do the viewer mail, I think. I got excited because I saw we had a notification, but it's not a donation. It's freaking mailer from Tom Woods. It's like, I know vaccine passports are bad, Tom, but let's open up your hearts and your checkbooks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, Aaron, you tell them. You give them the links. This is what you got to do. You got to go to patreon.com/Alan Mosley, or all of that stuff right there for PayPal. I feel like I could probably do it. Hold on, give me a second. I think I can do it. All right. You got to go to those links and donate. Like, it's amazing how we don't get donations during our flagship program, but we raise like $200 when Ryan and Celeste are on here to talk about, like, is muffin cake.
Yeah. We get back to that whole correlation causation thing.
Yeah. Mary says LMAO was censored. Well, that's because you can't say lesbians might attack orphans on my channel. No, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no,
we have standards.
Yeah, no, we put them in their place. All right, so anyway, I better get back to it. I mean, should we just move on?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Your initial instinct was yeah, and now you're saying you don't know.
No, I mean, move on to viewer mail. We should actually.
Oh, okay. So finish this segment as opposed to just move on. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Andrew, we'll do them. We'll say we'll do them quickly and then do them at the same speed. Okay. Andrew Avery says, "Dear Alan and Dave, do bicycles fall over because they're too tired?" Yes.
I don't know. I did some work this week. I found out that from my research, there's actually a lot of science and a lot of mystery behind how bikes actually stay up. But most of the reason that they fall over is because they're not going fast enough.
That applies
Yeah.
to a lot of things, I think. Like
Yeah.
like this segment. It fell over because it wasn't going
A long
fast
time
enough.
ago. Just get dragged
Um,
along now.
Yeah. Carl Huber writes, Dear Alan and Dave, why is the third hand on a watch called the second hand? Because it's measuring the seconds. But why is that the third hand? Like, they don't have numbers on them.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't that the first hand?
Oh. You're just arbitrarily applying a label to it.
Yep.
I thought it because initially they didn't have the first hand. You just expected to know what the hour was.
What's the point of a device that tracks time if the device expects you to know whereabouts the time is?
General, yeah. Just a ballpark idea.
I tell you what, you really missed your calling in tonight's monologue. I feel like you came prepared, but then you like you stowed your ammunition until this segment.
For the
Right.
monologue, all I had was living the dream. Yeah.
If you enjoy wasting time, is that time really wasted? Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It still is. Like, I've known a lot of people who were happy to be just useless pieces of shit, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean they're not useless pieces of shit. I mean, I'm happy for them that they're so happy about it, but they're still
Yeah.
useless. Yeah.
No,
Like, have you met libertarians? Like,
the worst.
yeah, right. Gary Duxter writes, Dear Alan and Dave, what's the more likely scenario in your opinion? 1, Spotify totally drops Joe Rogan from their platform. 2, Rogan preemptively I don't give a shit. Just
Yeah.
hit the thing.
Oh.
Hit the thing.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Suzanne Sherman writes, Dear Alan and Dave, will you be doing a taste test for Valentine's Day candy?
Oh, like a tier list.
But do you really need a tier list for Valentine's candy when we did like an hour and a half tier list for Halloween candy? Isn't it the same candy just shaped in hearts instead of skulls?
A lot, yeah. Actually, a lot of it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she actually said a taste test though. We didn't get to. If we had any kind of audience, they would have seen the list and then sent us all that candy, and then you and I would have then had firsthand experience with. Yeah. What did we say our next tier list was going to be? I thought we picked one.
Pizza.
Oh yeah,
Chain pizza. Yeah.
we're going to do a pizza tier list. You guys need to work on sending us all the pizza, and then
Yeah.
we'll rank it.
We'll save it till then, and then.
Yeah. Dave Benner writes, Dear Alan and Dave, who has had more impact on American culture? Adam Smith, Benner. This is another one of my friends who is still asking serious political and history questions in the segment that's made for fun and games because he's never seen this show in his life.
Yeah.
Why do you even leave a question to a show when you know you're not going to watch the show to hear what the answer is?
He's helping.
All right. Ryan Seifert writes. Actually, Ryan writes this through me because Ryan can't write because Ryan simply repeated what I said and that got him banned. I'm still here. He got banned.
Interesting.
Yep. Ryan Seifert writes, Dear Alan and Dave, why don't British people have fruit by the foot?
They have that Royale with fruit.
Royale with fruit.
Actually, I looked it up. They have something that's just like it, and it's called fruit winders. Same thing, just fruit winders.
That's gonna be our new thing. That when we the next time we talk about or come across some Europeans, we'll say, hey, look, a couple of fruit winders comes this way. That's what we're gonna do. All right. Jonathan Kranza writes, Dear Alan and Dave, Do you prefer Oreos or chocolate chip cookies? Dave, do you prefer Oreos or chocolate chip cookies?
I mean, if you're just saying chocolate chip cookies, then like a fresh baked chocolate chip cookie wins. But I assume he means like the store, not the store brand, but the mass produced chocolate chip. It's kind of a toss up. It's however I'm feeling at the moment. They're kind of even for me. Chips Ahoy, that's the word. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think basically all cookies on the shelf are pretty awful. Like if you've had like a homemade fresh cookie right out of the oven where it just
Yeah.
then it's like you've had cocaine. Why do you need crack?
It's stronger, isn't it? It's more processed.
All right.
Just like the store.
No,
the shelf cookies.
no. It's fine. I was gonna say something. Um,
Good job.
you know what? I went to go check over in chat just to see if people were like, Jesus Christ, this is still on. But actually, like, this is the most riveting chat we've had in a while.
Yeah, they're having fun.
People are really buzzed on those free crack pipes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Lyle Durio writes, Dear Alan and Dave, Lyle's going to be on Derek's program on
I saw that.
on Saturday to talk about the singles club for Valentine's.
That should be a fun one.
But I'm pretty sure Derek's not single.
Mm.
So he's really just bringing Lyle on to like dance for us, monkey.
Showcase it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And ironically enough, Lyle's question is, did a woman ever give you a lesson in leaving that you never forgot?
Mm.
So that's the kind of show it's going to be, is it?
Yeah.
Dave, you want
I
to
have. You want me to feel that?
you want to take that one?
I don't really understand the question, but I think so. The lesson was I should have left way sooner.
Wait, hold on. I think what Lyle is saying is a woman ever gives you a lesson in leaving that you never forgot is that she leaves and you are now the forlorn lover. But you've turned this thing on its head.
Yeah.
You're saying that
Yeah, I've never experienced the other, like someone leaving me. It's crazy.
so you left someone, but it was way too late after you already had perhaps a name or two tattooed on you somewhere. Is that what you're? What happened, Dave?
No. That's fine. We'll just stop there.
No, I mean, it was no. So the thing is we're already like 12 minutes over, so we might as well just hash it out.
No, it's the whole red flags things. All the flags were flying, and I'm like, well, maybe we can make this work. And
Oh,
no, yeah.
yeah. Is that all we get? I feel like there's more juicy
that's all you
details
get.
there. But-
Maybe a Monday night thing,
Oh yeah, this coming Monday night is going to be very personable. All right.
Very personal.
For me, no. All right. Eric Eli writes, Dear Alan and
Nice.
Dave. Yep, no problem. What are your favorite kinds of beans, and should it be obligatory to serve rice with beans?
What?
So I think it like when you go to your typical Mexican place, they'll serve rice
Oh,
and
okay.
beans together. But Mexican rice is not like just regular old white rice.
No.
No.
I like baked beans, so that'd be weird.
Yeah, so the best beans are baked beans. If you're just gonna eat beans, like I'm eating beans, baked beans are the best. So it definitely shouldn't be obligatory to serve rice with beans.
No.
But that Mexican rice,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you got those black beans come with it. That's good stuff.
No, I think they always serve refried beans.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm thinking. See, my sister-in-law is Puerto Rican, so it's always like beans and rice, like the black beans and rice. Pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're okay with the races mixing then?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Elam Stoltz writes, Dear Alan and Dave, if Deshaun Watson is available via trade, would he be the perfect QB to continue Big Ben's legacy in Pittsburgh? Now, See, what Elam's doing there is he's talking about on account of all the raping.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
yeah. So Big Ben has been known to have a rape every now and again in a bathroom.
Wandering hands. Yeah.
Yeah. And if the news is true, then Deshaun Watson also is very fluid with his definition of consent. So, yeah. He's a good quarterback, though. That's the thing you gotta ask yourself.
Matters. Yeah.
You gotta ask yourself, like, would you be content to know that, like, what's his name? His name just left my mind. Buffalo.
Allen? Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. Would you trade Buffalo winning the Super Bowl next year for? Turns out he's a monster rapist.
No, because I don't care enough if they win. I enjoy the games that play, and I'm not like one of those that say we played, so I'd rather people didn't get raped.
Okay, what about just an adulterer then, not a rapist?
Well, that's his business. It happens between two consulting adults.
Okay, what if the girl is not an adult?
Oh. Aren't we running out of time?
Oh, we've been out of time for like 20 minutes, but I want to hear from you. Would you be happy with the Bills Mafia getting a ring in exchange for Josh Allen not following those arbitrary dictates of the state?
I'm not gonna say. Yeah, it'd be sad to see him go in the wood chipper.
That's probably the longest moment I've seen you ever take to navigate this program. Right then,
waters are getting choppy, man.
All right. I'm gonna skip down a little bit because this is getting really bad. 22 minutes ago, Celeste Annis writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, what is your favorite kind of snack cracker?"
Going. I like those chicken crackers, chicken and biscuit or whatever.
What?
Chicken and a biscuit.
What?
You've never seen those?
No.
They're usually by the Ritz, and they're like at our store. They're like up at the top shelf. There's not a whole lot of different varieties, but it's got a chicken on it, and it's like it tastes like chicken soup, but a cracker. They're awesome.
So first of all, no, I don't believe I have. I don't believe I have. Yep. And second of all, when you had the camera on you just now, I could see that there's a monitor behind you. And on that monitor, it's telling me that we're really close to the point where we run the credits.
Just end the show. Yeah. I
and we have it, and we have a guest. No. The guest is already hung up. He's not even online anymore. I told him to wait 30 minutes. He left. He's
in the green room checking his watch. Ran out of M&Ms.
All right. I see people in the chat arguing amongst themselves over whether or not we should save some questions for next time or answer all the questions. All right. Marilyn Wilimowski writes, "Dear Alan and Dave."
Oh, shoot.
"What are your thoughts on the whole Valentine's Day thing?" Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think Mary's saying, "What are we doing for Valentine's Day?" I think that's what she was saying to you.
Oh, she knows. She knows.
Oh, all right. You know Valentine's Day is Monday, right?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Valentine's Day is Monday, and we're doing a stream on Monday. And so this is and it's gonna be a crossover event. So the official fiance of It's Too Late, Annika, is gonna be on with me. And I think this is Dave, I thought about this. This is where we're gonna bill it. We're gonna have a young couple, me and Annika, and an old couple, you and Mary, and it'll be like navigating relationships through the years.
Could we use the word experience maybe, or
veteran?
Veteran couple. Yeah, something like that. That sounds much better.
All right. So we'll have a young couple, Annika and I, and a Hall of Fame couple, really. A Hall of Fame couple in Dave and Mary.
Aw.
Yeah.
That almost makes up for the young couple part.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm actually seeing a bunch of new names and faces over in chat, and that makes me nervous because I feel like they're thinking this is what the show is like. This is not what the show is.
At this point, it kind of is.
No, it's not. God damn it! We do a tight 60-minute program with a look at the news, and then we interact with the audience, and then we have a guest, and then we're out of here with a reasonable amount of commercials.
Stop resisting.
Yeah,
Alan. It's inevitable.
it's.
Yep.
In retrospect, it was inevitable. Yeah. All right. So that actually, my thoughts on Valentine's Day is, it's not about what I want. It's about what Anna Kay wants.
Yep. It's good.
Mm-hmm. All right.
That's what I always say. My needs are simple. Yeah.
Let's save that for Monday, I think.
Yeah, put a pin in that.
Yeah. She won't let me put a pin. Sorry, never mind. Okay. And last but not least, we have Brian Johnson, who writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, is there such a thing as a movie being so bad it is good, or is it just bad?" I think there is such a thing as a movie being so bad it's good, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you don't say
I think sometimes. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you don't say this movie's so bad that it's good and then like rank it in the top 10 of all time movies, like with The Godfather, which every reasonable human being has seen at this point, I think.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to actually, you'd have to be a Stalinist, I think, to have not seen The Godfather at this point.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to go to commercial break, but I just saw in all caps "answer my question," because I actually did skip Aaron's question because it's more than 2 lines long of text.
Yeah.
And that was my attempt at trying to move the show along.
Yeah.
And,
Nope.
and Aaron says, "Nope, we're going back."
Community's
All right.
not having it.
No. All right. Aaron writes, "Dear Alan and Dave, are the Beatles actually overrated, or is it the fact that they pioneered so many techniques and ideas that they're used by modern musicians all the time that it has diminished their profound mark on the history of rock music?" No, they're overrated at AF. I mean, for one, I don't even...
I listened to his question, and I'm like, he's got a point there. It was just something very different for the time. It was something brand new, but I wrote down on my note, just because a band is groundbreaking doesn't mean they're good.
Oh, you had a note.
Yeah.
Oh, now I feel bad because I skipped the one that you were prepared for. The one.
No, I got a whole list. I have a digital note for this whole segment. Yeah.
Oh. Well, this is like hitting the lottery for you tonight, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. No, they're really overrated. I mean, for one, I don't even like the Beatles. Just in a vacuum, I'm like, meh at most. And two, as if they're not also influenced by those that came before. Like I actually sat down and met and played music with Phil Everly, and like the Beatles were all up on their dicks at one point in time. So, yeah, Aaron's so pissed right now. Like he's just gonna delete our Twitch channel and start banning everybody.
No more comments.
Yeah, no more comments. Did you see all the people that just left a blue like on our post this week?
Oh, that feels good.
I think we're gonna start. I think we're gonna start muting people who just like things as opposed to heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call the herd a little. You're getting too big, anyways.
We actually did get a donation during that, but I was like, where can I even fit this in at this point?
Well, we're off the rails now, man.
Yeah, it's kind of done.
It's the 2-hour special.
Yeah. We haven't gotten any new subscribers though, so what's up with that?
I still haven't figured that out.
Yeah. I actually had people in chat saying they literally haven't figured it out yet. When you literally just click follow and then click subscribe and then click Twitch Prime and follow the instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Directions unclear.
This is why you have to have like HR people at businesses make you watch a bunch of videotapes about how to open the register and how not to call customers dick shitters. This is why those exist. All right, boy. And now, my friends, 50 minutes into the show,
Woo!
after a false start,
Mm-hmm.
we're now going to
Kids are ready
go.
to stay up late.
Yeah, we're now going to go to the interview. We have Kyle Anzalone from the Libertarian Institute to talk about Russia and Ukraine. Right after this commercial break. Don't go away. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for It's Too Late with Alan Mosley. Email us at info@alanmosley.tv. Guys, welcome back to the show. Our guest this evening is, making his second appearance on the show, is the news editor of Libertarian Institute. Guys, Scott would be so mad if I said that you were the director and not him. He would never come back. Assistant editor at antiwar.com and co-host of Conflicts of Interest with Will Porter and Connor Freeman. You can get his news roundups and episodes at libertarianinstitute.org. Kyle Anzalone, welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much for having me back on, Alan. How you doing?
Kyle, I'm doing all right. I was going to start off with that. I think it was around spring of last year when you and Will were last on the show. How's life been treating you since then?
Well, not too bad for me, I guess. I don't know about you and your audience, but you may be facing some, real dread over the coming war in Ukraine or something like that. But no, things are pretty good, and very happy, and things are going real well for us at the Libertarian Institute and at Conflicts of Interest. I've had Connor Freeman as a co-host since I think I was last on the show.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that. A friend of mine has a son who I think just turned 19 recently. And I actually sent him an article from one of the regime media outlets that was talking about deploying troops to Eastern Europe. And I just sent him the link with, "Oh, I look what your son's going to be doing this summer." You know what they say about idle hands and all that. So I'm glad he has something to look forward to.
Right. Man, it is. It is terrifying. I mean, Joe Biden has been pretty firm that he is not sending Americans to Ukraine. So, despite all the Hawks, terrified about what's going to happen and warning about this great conflict, Biden is pretty firm about keeping the Americans out of it.
Well, we'll start there then, talking about the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. I asked some of our audience in our private chat, "Hey, do you have any questions for Kyle?" And one of the first questions came from a lady who said, "All I hear about is Russia is threatening to invade Ukraine. Why can't they just leave everybody alone?" I'll let you answer that however you feel.
Oh man, there's so much there. Which, of course, the first thing is just the foregone conclusion that Russia is going to invade Ukraine. I think is incorrect, and it really seems like a mainstream media type narrative, right? Where you got like Russia is just gonna invade Ukraine, and there's nothing anybody could do about it. And Russia just pits on people all day long, like in Syria and stuff like that. And I mean, that's just really not the case here. Now, is there maybe potential conflict that could happen in Ukraine? It's a possibility. There are people outside the mainstream media who get checks from the military-industrial complex that have warned that this is a legitimate possibility. People like Douglas McGregor or Scott Ritter have put out that, look, the U.S., what they've done in Eastern Europe since the fall of the Soviet Union by taking a promise that they made to Russia in 1990 that they wouldn't expand NATO eastward if Germany was allowed to reunify, because it was split after World War II between East and West Germany. So that reunified and became a NATO member state. And so with that, and mind you, that one of the reasons that Germany was split and one of the reasons that this was so controversial is that during World War II, Germany, as one big country, did massive damage to Russia. I think 27 million dead is the minimum number there. And, I had somebody on my show once who said that, that number could be 40 or so million Russians who were killed by that German invasion. And so that was a pretty big concession that the Russians made there. And of course, by 1990, the U.S. was ready to rip up their part of that obligation and start to expand NATO eastward, at first including Poland and then the Baltic states. And now all the way up to having a plan to admit Moldova, Georgia, and Ukraine into NATO. And so, imagine this being the other way, where after say the 1990, it was actually the NATO alliance that fell apart, and Russia started, or the USSR, the Soviets started expanding the Warsaw Pact, and then they now have like the UK as a member of the Warsaw Pact, and are talking about including both Canada and Mexico as members of the Warsaw Pact in the potential future. They're arming the drug cartels in Mexico, and it's causing huge problems in the United States. They're supporting different governments and overthrowing governments in Canada. I don't think we would be saying, oh, why are the Americans threatening to invade Mexico? What would possibly be going on that they would have an issue with there? It would be very obvious why the Americans had had enough and why they were looking to do something like this. So, just trying to put in a little bit more context and nuance. Yeah, there may be some threat of invasion here, although I think it's far lower than what the Biden administration is saying. If you look at the statements from the Ukrainian government, Ukraine's prime minister said the invasion rhetoric from the United States was causing a panic, and that they did not see the threat from Russia having increased since last April. The Ukrainian foreign minister said that they don't buy into the apocalyptic scenarios. The French president said that he doesn't think Russia is going to invade Ukraine, and that Russia is seeking security guarantees. He's actually in Moscow, I believe, right now, meeting with Putin. The chancellor of Germany has a plan to go and meet with Putin next week. And so, do you really think all these, heads of state of European countries would be going to Moscow if they thought Putin was just about to invade Ukraine? I don't know if that would be the case. So, I think that the likelihood of invasion is actually quite lower than what is being put out, particularly by the Americans and the UK government, saying that an invasion could come at any day now.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. There's going to be an American troop buildup on the Texas border. We're invading Mexico any day now. But I want to I want to dig into that last thing, Kyle, that you said, talking about how the narrative is portrayed in the media. Now, as you already mentioned, Ukrainian sponsors saying this is causing a panic. This is hype. We don't recognize the situation as being any more volatile than it was last year. And I've also seen reports from Russian media where they actually take headlines and news from Western sources and just openly mock it, saying, look how they're portraying this. We're over here talking about how much snowfall we're going to get in Moscow tonight. They're over there talking about how there's about to be a war. What's the disconnect? So if we're gonna firmly affix our tinfoil hats for just a few minutes, what is it about Western media that the rest of the world doesn't seem to understand?
I mean, that they're owned by the military-industrial complex is, I think, the general answer. How much a part of their coverage is just always hyping the war narrative, and the idea that America has to do everything all the time, and give excuses to sell F-35s and all these other expensive military equipment that really doesn't work well. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video that just leaked out where there's an F-35 trying to land on the USS, not the Truman, the Vincent, the Carl Vinson in the South China Sea, and it hits the back of the runway, and then it slides off, and $100 million sinks to the bottom of the ocean. 7 soldiers injured in the whole thing. Absolute miracle that the plane didn't hit anything else on the runway of that ship and just skidded off into the ocean. But and now there's a massive, I don't know how much they're gonna end up spending on it, but that plane's like thousands of feet below the sea. And of course, they're worried if the Chinese get their hands on it, then that's going to give them some kind of strategic advantage over the US on the F-35. And so now they're rushing all these scrap ships to try to go locate this thing. And it's going to take them so long to get there that the transponder is going to turn off. And so if it, moves once it's on the bottom of the ocean or whatever, I don't know how much trouble they're going to have finding this, but we're talking about probably tens of millions of dollars at least to go fish this thing out of the ocean after it ran off the deck of a runway during drills that the U.S. didn't even need to be carrying out. And so I don't know, that I think is a lot of it. They gotta sell these crappy weapons and keep the money flowing from the Pentagon to Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all these companies. I don't know if you saw this, but the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus put out it's some sort of thing. I guess this is a meme going around on the internet. There's some kid that was written up by his teacher for not wanting to listen to CNN 10, which is their little segments that they do geared towards, I would say, like a middle school to high school audience. And I worked in a school before, and I watched, there was a classroom that was showing this, and they were talking about how great it was making the Tomahawk missiles, and how great is, I think, Fareed Zakaria is his name, and he's just going through this production of this whole thing. And I think does maybe give a little bit of a sometimes these things could be bad, but mostly it's just like a PR piece for the military industrial complex.
Well, circling back to Ukraine for a moment, everyone's heard the phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And so naturally, because Russia is, of course, the most dangerous thing to Western democracy, that would mean that Ukraine, however you want to define the Ukraine as it currently exists, they must be close allies of the United States. They must represent the same Western virtues and morals and devout to democracy and freedom and justice and equality that we do. I've got that right, though, right, Kyle? Ukraine is everything that we would want to protect.
All right, yeah. So let's remind everybody of Afghanistan before I say this, and they call me a conspiracy theorist, right? So the U.S. has a history in the 70s, late 70s and 80s of arming a rebellion in Afghanistan, believing that they could bait the Soviets into invading by it, and then bleed the empire and give them their own Vietnam. Replicating the misery and the toll that Vietnam took on the American empire to do that to the Soviet empire. And what do you know? Osama bin Laden is one of those people, and of course, through that and everything, we get Afghanistan, 9/11, and all that comes from that, right? So right now in Ukraine, is a group called the Azov Battalion and other groups called the Right Sector and everything like that. They are very much ethno-nationalists to outright neo-Nazis on the spectrum. These people are militant pro-Ukrainians who do not mind carrying out ethnic crimes, and some of them are just outright believers in Nazi ideology, and particularly from when World War II, right? So you have the Nazi invasion, and the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union happened through Ukraine. And so there are people in Ukraine who really suffered under of course, the communist government that existed at the time. This is Stalin. These are evil people that are in charge of the Soviet Union as well. And so some of the people, when the Nazis invaded, sympathized with the Nazis, right? And so there are people, and remember, this is their grandparents, right? This is the 1940s and 50s we're talking about. We're not talking about ancient history or anything like that. And so there's some real sympathy and belief in that ideology still from people in Ukraine, including the Azov Battalion in the Right Sector. And I've actually confirmed this through a couple of sources. There's Right Sector flags, so blood and soil flags flying at government buildings and other kind of national places in Ukraine. And so these are the people that were backing. There is a CIA program that was that Yahoo, did an official announcement of, leaked from the CIA, about how what's happening is they're bringing some of these militants here to the U.S., arming them and training them, and sending them back to Ukraine to engage in guerrilla tactics. We also have the fact that there's a great article, or not article, episode of the Scott Horton Show where he interviews Branko Martic. Go check it out. It's at the Libertarian Institute. And Branko goes through all the cases where these people, the white nationalists, neo-Nazi types, the legitimate like 0.001% of white people who are actually like ethno-nationalist lunatics who will go out and kill somebody because they're not white. Well, those people are traveling to Ukraine, meeting up with the Azov boys, and then coming back and joining up like the RAM group in the U.S. and, a part of the violence at the Charlottesville riot. There's this guy who carried out a pretty brutal assault and battery in Florida, and then the Christchurch church shooter in New Zealand also was involved in idealized these guys in Ukraine. So this is a real issue.
Well, that's really interesting because I know that a lot of people listening right now might be thinking to themselves, well, for all the bluster that I hear in Western media about how everyone I don't like is a Nazi, fascism is alive and well in the United States. The Antifa type saying that I'm anti-fascist, so it's okay to punch a Nazi. What you're talking about is easy to verify. This isn't a secret globally. It is understood that there are absolutely alive and well thriving neo-Nazi groups in the Ukraine. And yet, in all the coverage that I'm seeing about the Russia-Ukraine incident, if you can even call it an incident at this point, you're not getting any of that. You're not getting any of that the Ukraine has genuine neo-Nazis in positions of power within their state, and you're not getting any of Russia not only not threatening immediate invasion, but that Russia would have legitimate concerns with their neighbors. Why aren't we not hearing any of that?
Yeah, I mean, so we do hear just a little bit of it because there are some omissions recently. I think it was Nat Geo is the channel that has the series Trafficked. I've never watched it before, but they did an episode about the ethno-nationalists in Ukraine, and they got a quote from, I believe her first name is Evelyn, her last name is definitely Farkas, and she says, "Yeah, we have to back whoever we have to back in Ukraine to combat Russia," and so that's one of the real important things. But why you don't hear about it is because first of all, it takes a long time to have the conversation, right? Like one of the key issues here, and if this situation is de-escalated, I think the course it may take has to do with the placement of U.S. anti-missile systems in Eastern Europe, particularly Poland and Romania. And these are the Patriot missile systems. And while it may sound like, oh, these are just missile defense systems, this is just a defensive thing, the problem is that these missile systems that fire the Patriot missiles, those same missile launchers are the Mk-41s, and you could throw Tomahawk missiles in them too. And so very quickly you could go from a missile that could shoot down another missile to having a missile in there that could carry a nuclear warhead, and it's within just a few hundred miles of the Russian border and the Russian capital. And so, you could see why this may be an issue along the lines, say, of, Russia having these kind of systems set up in Cuba or something like that, and why the Americans would find that absolutely intolerable. And so, it's a complicated thing, but there are some indications that the U.S. government is willing to negotiate on that. That has apparently was something within the proposal that Biden sent. Although the kind of counter argument is that Russia's real concern at this point is the fact that Ukraine is almost becoming a de facto NATO member state, even though the U.S. says we won't defend Ukraine if it's invaded. We're arming Ukraine. They're now, I think, the third biggest recipient of U.S. military aid. We're giving their troops constant training. Right now, the Florida National Guard is there training them how to use rocket launchers and different things like that. The UK has hundreds of troops. The Canadians have troops in Ukraine. And all these things are things that happen if Ukraine was a NATO member state, right? And despite the fact that, Biden has very clearly said we're not going to send troops to defend Ukraine, the U.S. does keep saying that we're committed to Ukraine's territorial integrity. And so if you're saying we're committed to that country's borders as they are, that kind of sounds like you're saying you're willing to fight a war if, those borders change. And so there is some, I think, real mixed rhetoric on this from the Biden administration. Yeah, and so I think it's kind of unclear if the Russians are going to be content with, the offer that I think is now being made by the U.S. to remove those Patriot missile batteries, if the U.S. is serious about that, from Eastern Europe, and that again could be a path out of this, but those systems are hundreds of millions, billions of dollars when you count the research and development, and you have to constantly train troops on them, and so the contractors get money for that, the maintenance, the testing to make sure they work. All these kinds of things mean that these systems are huge amounts of money for the military industrial complex, for Raytheon, who makes them. And so what the media is going to take a huge amount of time to portray this really nuanced narrative that doesn't paint the American as the white hats who are just trying to defend the world and hurt their sponsor, Raytheon. That's not going to happen.
Well, let's talk about the rhetoric then a little bit, and our friend Uncle Joe Biden. Now there's plenty of room to criticize and make fun of Brandon, and we've done that on this program as well. But one of the biggest things that happened from the last time you guys were on and today is, of course, the pullout in Afghanistan. And it's one of those things where you look back now at some of the coverage that took place during that time, and you realize that if all you got was information from the corporate press and nowhere else, you almost wouldn't have even noticed that there was a withdrawal, because all you get is how poorly it was done. And maybe it was, but it happened, right? I mean, it's kind of like you're stacking a ugly withdrawal up against 20 years of failed imperialism, and you decide which one is better and which one is worse. And so taking that same President Biden, who is surrounded by the same deep state, the same war hawks, the same military industrial complex that, say, for instance, a President Trump was, and Trump wasn't able to get major withdrawals done during his time. He may have promised one, but one didn't happen. Do you hold out hope that at the end of the day, all of this is going to blow over as just a giant nothing burger, and that by and large, even if military defense contractors get paid, American lives won't be lost because maybe Joe can find his spine and say no once again?
Well, I mean, I think on the Russia issue in particular, and I do want to mention Afghanistan, but on the Russia issue in particular, I think there's actually a hope here for something a little bit better. And rather than just, going back to the status quo before, having some kind of real security agreement for Eastern Europe that is tolerable to Russia in the long term. And so, let's say we just do something minimal to kind of pull turn down the temperature and everything like that. If the U.S. continues to arm, train, and, made statements essentially saying that Ukraine's a NATO member state, then any kind of minimal agreement to withdraw current tensions aren't going to be really helpful. But if, say, something does get agreement to remove the U.S. Patriot missile batteries from Eastern Europe, agreements on maybe no more military aid from the U.S. to Ukraine, maybe no more NATO training of Ukrainian forces. These kind of agreements, I think, are possible that something Biden would be willing to sign that I'm guessing that politically Trump would have been unwilling to. I mean, it's because the Democrats are absolutely ridiculous and made up the whole fake Russiagate thing. But at the same time, that really did, at least in the way Trump saw the world, it tied his hands on the issue. I mean, that's, like a cowardly excuse and everything like that. And why the hell would you fund neo-Nazis just because the Democrats want you to? But at the same time, the way U.S. politics works, the fact that he even briefly paused the military aid to Ukraine, he got impeached for it, right? And when the impeachment trial was going on, the deep state who were testifying, the Fiona Hills, the Alexander Vindmans, who were testifying and explaining to the congressman why they had to impeach Donald Trump, they were openly saying it's because he was interfering with the U.S. established policy to continue to arm and fund the Ukrainian government. And that was, the real issue was he was just trying to overturn the foreign policy. However, that I don't think that narrative works as well against Joe Biden. Joe Biden did renew the New START treaty. He was a part of the Obama government in 2010 when they initially negotiated the New START treaty. And so I don't know. I think there's a real possibility here that Biden could be the kind of guy that's actually willing to do it. I mean, he is the one saying that, and as much as it was kind of walked back by his own administration, that if there's a minor incursion, we're not going to go the maximum route on Russia. Saying, and he's the one saying we're not going to put U.S. troops in Russia. He's making the most dovish statements of his entire administration. So, that potential is there. Now, the problem is he surrounded himself with hawks, terrible, terrible people, particularly National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan and Secretary of State Antony Blinken. I want to mention one thing that Sullivan said this week that I think is really, really important. He said that while it would come at a huge cost for Ukraine, if Russia invaded, it would come at a strategic cost to Russia as well. And so if you go back to my Afghanistan example that I was talking about before, there are people, I think, within the Biden administration who see the opportunity to get Russia embroiled in like a Vietnam or an Afghanistan like situation in Ukraine. I don't know if it'll work out the way they think, but I mean, look, think of how dark that is, right? To fight the Russians to the last Ukrainian fight, having the Ukrainians fight a war that they know they're going to lose just because it's going to do some damage to Russia is absolutely insane. But I kind of think Jake Sullivan might want to do that. Now, Alan, just real quick on the Afghanistan issue, before we give Joe Biden too much credit for it, he has to remove the sanctions on the Taliban and he has to unfreeze the Afghan government bank accounts, or else this winter is going to be worse than if Donald Trump had kept up his bombing campaign at the increased pace that was going on during the Trump administration. I mean, over 100,000 people have died in the Afghan war, but they're talking about potentially 1 million kids right now being in the malnourished to severe malnourished category in Afghanistan. I mean, we're looking at a massive starvation campaign against the poorest people in the world that Joe Biden has resorted to. That political trade-off. He looked bad and weak when he withdrew from Afghanistan, and so in exchange, he's punished the Afghan people by starving them to death. It's brutal. The aid groups are warning that it's, they're saying in the millions, but I think tens, hundreds of thousands seem very possible, if not more.
Well, one more thing I want to touch on before we run out of time. Russia, China, China. That sort of gets all the press. But is there another really major foreign policy conflict that's flying under the radar right now that people need to know more about? And why is it Yemen?
Yeah, well, I was almost going to take that a different direction and surprise you and start talking about Syria. But no, I'll talk about Yemen because it is really important. I mean, the situation there in 2021 has really gotten a lot worse, and it's continuing now. The Trump administration, I think by the end, had actually had that war turned down a little bit because the Saudis kind of choose when they're going to carry out the bombing campaigns and everything like that. And there had been some real pressure on the Trump administration. Congress had passed a War Powers Act to try to prevent the Trump administration from continuing to wage that war. Trump had to veto it, but along with that veto, I think came giving Saudi Arabia a little bit less support, to alleviate that political pressure. Well, the Democrats were mainly the ones concerned about Yemenis because Republicans don't care about Muslims, other than Thomas Massey and the Freedom Caucus and those few people who actually do think about, oh, these U.S. wars could be bad and they're costly and everything like that. So now there's no pressure on the Biden administration, despite coming in and saying that he was going to end the war, that he was going to turn Saudi Arabia into a pariah state. We're a year past when he said that he was going to cut off offensive support from Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen right after he took office. And instead, that war has been dialed up significantly. Saudi Arabia has not at all let up on the blockade of Yemen. And despite Saudi Arabia waging what has been a food war, direct targeting of the food infrastructure in Yemen, enough Yemeni people, I think, have just kind of gone back to the like countryside and started farming because they had nothing else, that there is some alleviation of the food crisis in Yemen. So a little bit of good news on that front, but the bombing has gotten a lot worse. Saudi Arabia is carrying out airstrikes everywhere. They've carried out, the Houthi have said, like, I think 15,000 have died since June of their fighters alone. That doesn't include civilians. Recently, the Saudis carried out a horrific airstrike on an immigrant detention facility in Yemen, or migrant detention facility, I guess. People looking, I think, mainly to cross from at the Horn of Africa through Yemen on the Arabian Peninsula, because the strait there, the body of water in the Red Sea is real small there. So they cross there, they end up in Yemen. They get in one of these Houthi detention facilities, and the Saudis blow it up. 100 plus dead there. They also recently bombed a building in Yemen that housed the communications hub, I guess. So when they hit that building, it turned off the internet for most of the north of Yemen, which includes like 80% of the population. And they also bombed a youth soccer game and killed 3 children. And so these are just horrific war crimes that the Biden administration is supporting. And rather than doing something to try to stop it, he's doubling down on his support for Saudi Arabia. Just this week, the U.S. announced that they were upgrading the Saudi missile defense system and the Emirati missile defense system, because these are the two main actors in the region that are targeting the Houthi, and the Houthi can fire missiles and drones to hit Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And so the U.S. is increasing our missile defense of those countries. That way they could continue the slaughter of Yemen at absolutely no cost to themselves. That's the real key here. If the Houthis were able to target and hit Saudi facilities, well, then Saudi Arabia might have to negotiate an end to the war with the Houthis. But as long as the Saudis could just continue to starve the Houthi to death and bomb them whenever they want, then the Yemenis are going to suffer. I guess they starve more than just the Houthi. They starve the entire Yemeni population. Yeah, and so I don't know. I guess I probably didn't do a great job of breaking down the different sides of the war. The Houthis are the rebel side. The Saudis back a different government in Yemen. The UAE backs a separate government in Yemen that's kind of allied with the Saudi government in Yemen, but sometimes it's not. Most of the people live in northern Yemen under the Houthi control areas, mainly because it brings more security and stability. In fact, a lot of the wealthier people from the southern part of the country that's held by Saudi Arabia have actually migrated to the Yemeni-controlled territories because it provides more security. In part, that's because Saudi Arabia has flooded Yemen in order to lower the cost of the war to them. They're just printing up Yemeni currency and dumping it onto the market. So the Houthis refuse to take any currency. I think that's after 2020, because after that, the Saudis flooded the market. And so if you're living in southern Yemen, I hear the exchange rate is like 1,500 rial to a dollar, and in northern Yemen, it's 501 rial to a dollar. And I don't know, that could have changed drastically over the last month, but that was the case after Saudi's money dumping.
Kyle, where can people go to support you and check out Conflicts of Interest?
The Libertarian Institute. If you're listening, I got on one of the Libertarian Institute hoodies, so You could buy some of those at the website. You can just, check out, subscribe, support the show, conflicts of interest. I've done a news roundup at the Libertarian Institute for, I don't know, over 5 years now, and I've just upgraded it. I'm actually writing like a short article every day and then having the rest of the links on the bottom. So check out what I'm doing at the Institute. I think it's really great work. It's almost all foreign policy, some cop stuff, some COVID stuff. And at least 3 shows a week. I've actually, since the start of the year, started doing a 4th show every week. If I could keep up the pace, I will continue to. But at least new shows every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
All right, Kyle, we're going to get you out of here on this one. Is ketchup a smoothie?
No.
Oh, sorry, Kyle. That's tough break, man. Unfortunately, Kyle is not a real libertarian. As everyone knows, ketchup is a smoothie because you've got your fruit. It's broken down into a paste, and it's got a bunch of sugar added. That is the same thing. Therefore, ketchup is a smoothie. But, Kyle, thank you so much, man. This was very enlightening. I hope you come back.
All right. Anytime, Alan. I appreciate it.
Guys, we're going to be back to wrap up the show right after this last commercial break. Don't go away. If you're enjoying tonight's show, consider supporting the program by becoming a member of our Patreon. That's over at patreon.com/Alan Mosley. Like our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Alan Mosley TV. You can follow me on Twitter. That's twitter.com/Alan Mosley TV. And subscribe to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/Alan Mosley TV. Also, we're now on Odyssey. Go check us out on Odyssey. It's Too Late with Alan Mosley, or at Alan Mosley TV. If you're more of a listener than a watcher, you'd like to listen, don't you? You want to hear it? Yeah, you can hear it. So thanks to Anchor FM, anchor.fm/Alan Mosley TV. And we're back.
We're back.
We were here the whole time. You just saw me. Yeah. I was there. Yeah. So we were gonna, let's do a tier list. Let's load one up.
Yeah, we'll start it now.
All right.
Let me put one together.
Yeah, get D3. Just get him out of bed. Say, hey, we've got work to do, son.
It's go time.
That was a great guess. I'm glad everybody had a good time. You know what? The Libertarian Institute is the real frickin' deal. Kyle Anzalone does a news roundup there like every day of the week, as well as doing conflicts of interest. And he's an editor for antiwar.com. Like, you can't... It's impossible. Now, imagine what Kyle could do with Cato's budget. And imagine what Cato would do with Kyle's budget. Yeah, anyway. Hold on, let me use the correct wording so Dave knows to do input. Dave, do you have a final thought?
Yeah, it was a great show, great guest, great interview. Again, great show. I thought we had a lot of fun. I hope the viewers did too. Sky's the limit from here, man. We got this.
Yeah, yeah. So we basically took this week's off, but next week's gonna be a banger.
Banger.
We actually have a bunch of big guests getting ready to come on the show. Did you know that I think it's the second week of March is episode 200? Episode 200. We're gonna have a really good guest for that one too. But I can't. Nice. You know the rule. I can't say who it's gonna be yet, because then if I do, and then they'll die in a plane crash or something, and then it'll be like, oops, no guests. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oops, all commercials. Speaking of that, how are we doing on commercials? We got to know. Oh, the next one wouldn't start for like 39 minutes. All right, Dave, we got to do another 39 minutes of content to crank out another commercial.
Yeah, we could do that. We did at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, if anything is proven, we could clearly do it, but we're not going to, though. Guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of It's Too Late, and we will see you next week. Yeah, that wasn't a train wreck at all, Dave.
No, I think that was great.
Hey,
like I said, as long as we had fun.
If you're still listening on Twitch, don't go away. We're gonna raid. We're gonna raid somebody. We're gonna
Yeah.
raid Cantaloupe Me, who's playing Zelda. We're gonna do it.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. And now you guys behave. Don't be going in there and talking that poopy talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't be shitheads.
Don't be dick shitters. All right, we're doing it.
Thanks for watching.